PMN4. They come every time in packages of 6. So you mostly have to expect at least 6 if you see one. And if you have a good unit, you maybe see one on a surface, maybe, but then they are there for a reason, for like as an eye catcher.
Hello everyone, I'm today talking to a veteran of the Ukraine war. He served as a combat engineer and he was previously a combat engineer in the German army. And I want to particularly know, in combat or before combat, for instance when you're clearing mines or something, how do you know if you're facing a good unit or a good position? So what are indicators for you that you suddenly go, okay, this might not be a regular or a weak unit or something, this might be a strong unit or an experienced unit, or at the same time how you recognize that you're facing a weaker unit or something, or position?
There are definitely different indicators. Depends on the situation, what you see, what you get from your intel, etc., what you see in the field. Classic example for me definitely would be on the sapper versus sapper situation. Get to an objective, you have almost every time to pass some mined areas, almost every time. There you see a lot of different ways how everyone deployed their mines. A typical example is what almost every unit had, which I approached, was PMN4, which is like a classic anti-personnel mine, a small one, about 200 grams, etc. You see them sometimes just openly tossed around, like for example, if you're in a wood block or a tree line, etc., that you can definitely see that someone had like 6 or 12, etc., in their backpack, and he just pulled them out, pulled the pin, tossed them left and right from him, and just wanted to finish the job as fast as possible. I mean, in the end, almost every soldier has a few goals, and survival is the biggest. So you don't want to take missions which are close to the enemy longer than possible. Especially unexperienced or unmotivated soldiers don't get overly accurate at such missions because they don't want to stay there longer than it's necessary. So you see actually the mains laying on an open surface. So they fulfilled their job. They planted the mine like their order was, but it wasn't done well. Yeah, so that's definitely the difference. And also they make a lot of trash. A good soldier, if they work, they are pretty aware of their tracks. Not only like footprints or stuff like that, but the most obvious tracks you can produce is like trash. Trash you have produced with almost everything you produce trash, and there's like on front line you have no system to get rid of it. You have to collect it by yourself, which means a lot of more work for yourself. You have to carry all this stuff, literally trash, by yourself, but you do it because otherwise it would negate your work in a certain manner, especially when it comes to mines. When you see boxes or packages, stuff or wrappings of mines, and if you work longer with that stuff, you can recognize which mines is in which area by seeing the trash. Someone who slacks off will just toss the trash anywhere around. You see it, you know what will be ahead of you. Other case is if you have like a really good adversary on a sub scale, you see that they planted the mines and thought about where, how the enemy will approach, which way they will make, what their behavior will do in certain areas, where you will look, where you will step. All that has to be thought about. It's way more difficult then. So mostly, for example, to stick at the same example with the PMN4, they come every time in packages of 6. Mostly they get handed out in these packages. So you mostly have to expect at least 6 if you see one. And if you have a good unit, you maybe see one on a surface, maybe, but then they are there for a reason, for like as an eye catcher or as a distraction. Because that's actually, there's a lot of tricks in the box of zappers, and they play actually with the human behavior, with the human habits and way to act. So, for example, you can't share your interest. If you're interested in one spot, you can't share your attention to another spot as well. So, and if you work long enough in this matter, you recognize that those tricks and you get more aware. But also, for example, if you found 3 mines and don't see any detonation spots around, you definitely know there's 3 more probably hidden in some places which are pretty, pretty accurate figured out. So, for example, if you bend the wrong branch on the tree or roll the wrong tree trunk in the wrong direction or stuff like that, not the obvious one. So they can recognize if you play against someone who is used to this game or someone who just want to do his job as fast as possible to get out of the situation.
So besides the trash and how the mines are positioned, are there other strong indicators from your experience?
I would say, as we have right now a huge possibility in use all the ISR methods, which got provided by us with other teams, for example, or by our own. So reconnaissance, for example, by drone or optronics, etc. You can have an impression way beforehand. You get to next to an enemy position, and you see already how not only how the position is built, but also how it's maintained. Sometimes one unit builds a position, but another one use it and have to maintain it, and you see definitely the differences, how they behave, how they take care about their stuff, how they have their operation procedures, do they make rookie mistakes. You see definitely how well disciplined the unit is and how good the cohesion is. So there's, for example, positions which are already shelled for 1 or 2 weeks and mostly sporadically. No intensify about this time frame, but at least and they still keep up maintaining their position and have a high cohesion. And other units, they just don't care. So they got shelled. They don't build up parts of the trenches anymore. So, or even if they have some losses, they don't get rid of the corpses or stuff like this. And again, of course, trash, as I said before. Yeah, or if you see on your drone footage that they left their weapons in the open, stuff like that, longer than you would like to have them to be. How they maintain this is like a strong indicator that they don't that they maintain the weapons poorly, for example, stuff like that.
So basically, you can see like a good unit built this position, and now it's occupied by a weaker unit more or less because
Yeah.
it's more in disrepair and something else. Could you also tell the difference, like it was built by a weak unit and but now it's occupied by a strong unit?
Yeah, definitely, because a good unit doesn't slack around. If a good unit is ordered into a certain position and this position is actually not well built, they will work on it to increase the structure of the trenches, of the overhead cover, stuff like this. So they don't just go into a position with just shit and live with it. They want to increase their own capabilities together with this position. A bad unit would just go in there and hope that the time goes by fast enough that they got circled out. Yeah.
So basically, improvements would be add overhead protection, reinforced trenches, get rid of the trash.
For example, yeah.
What would be other changes?
Definitely how they camouflage their material, how regularly they switch the sentinels, who's the guys who are on guard, stuff like this. So, for example, if you have a long time reconnaissance on a certain position, you can see their habits. Yeah, for example, have a if they have a good rotation, and not only a good rotation between the guys who are on guard, but also a good rotation. For example, there are some units who tend to make like 3 hour shifts, which is totally crap because in 3 hours you don't get a healthy sleep. But in 3 hours you're so long on a position that you get sleepy on a position, for example, which indicates some kind of poor leadership. Yeah, because someone didn't sort through such decisions, stuff like that.
Anything to add to the topic, or
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, especially how they, for example, work with the environment, yeah, where they place their weapons, how they often pull them back into the hideout, stuff like that. It's definitely there are a lot of indicators. I mean, it's okay to build a machine gun position, but if you build it once and it faces every time one direction, and you got this information, you wouldn't approach from this direction, obviously. But there are units who do it because they are ordered to do it, and they just don't care about anymore afterwards. And other units are like building, if they have one machine gun, they build like 3 or 4 machine gun positions so they can switch out. So you never know where the heavy weapon of the infantry squad is. But also, if you would destroy one position, that they have directly in other opportunity place the position. Stuff like this. So that then you see there's someone who thinks 2 steps ahead than just the obvious.
then thank you very much. Thank you for watching and see you next time.